Leo stepped carefully along the riverbank. The water was bright blue, almost glowing under the strange light of the alien sun. He had never seen a place like this. Tall plants with sparkling leaves grew along the edge of the river. Some of them had flowers that looked like tiny lanterns. He held his map in one hand and a small scanner in the other. The scanner beeped occasionally, telling him about the water and the soil. Leo was alone, but he felt a thrill. Exploring new planets was dangerous, but it was exciting too. The river was wider than he expected. The current moved fast. Leo looked for a safe spot to cross. He put one foot on a slippery rock and then another. The water was cold and strong. Suddenly, one of the rocks moved under his foot. He lost his balance and fell into the water. The current grabbed him immediately. He tried to swim, but the flow was too strong. His backpack filled with water and pulled him down. Panic hit him for the first time that day. Leo fought with the current, kicking and splashing. He could see the riverbank a few meters away, but every time he reached for it, the water pushed him back. His lungs burned. He felt like he might be carried away forever. Just as he thought he would be lost, something strange happened. A figure appeared in the water, moving faster than any human could. She was smaller than Leo, but strong and quick. Her skin had a soft green tint, and her hair floated around her head like it had no weight. Her eyes shone bright yellow, almost like the flowers on the riverbank. She reached him, grabbed his arm, and pulled with incredible strength. Leo tried to speak, but the water filled his mouth. The only thing he could do was hold on. With her help, Leo was dragged toward the riverbank. The current tried to fight them, but she did not let go. Finally, they reached shallow water. She pushed him onto the riverbank, and he gasped for air. He lay on the ground, coughing and wet, while she stood over him, watching carefully. Her eyes were curious, not hostile. She seemed young, maybe not much older than a teenager, but strong and confident. Leo tried to stand, but his legs shook. "Thank you," he said finally. His voice sounded weak to him. He looked around. She did not answer. She just stared at him with her bright eyes. Then she made a soft sound, like a low hum. It was not a word Leo understood. He realized she was speaking her own language. He smiled faintly. "I am Leo," he said. He held out a hand to show he meant no harm. She tilted her head and touched his hand with hers. Her touch was cool and firm. She pulled him a little away from the river and then stepped back. Her eyes scanned him, studying him carefully. Leo noticed she wore a simple outfit made from green leaves and soft fibers. Her clothes looked strong and practical for the forest around them. Leo tried again. "Are you okay?" he asked. He pointed at the river. She nodded quickly. She made the humming sound again, faster this time. He thought maybe she was telling him something important. He smiled, trying to make her feel safe. He knew he could not speak her language, but maybe she could understand gestures. He looked around and saw footprints along the river. They seemed to belong to her. He guessed she had come from a nearby village. "Do you live here?" he asked. She nodded again. Then she pointed to the forest behind her, and then back at him. Leo understood. She wanted him to follow her. He hesitated. He had no idea if this was safe. But the current in the river still sounded dangerous. He had no choice. He stood carefully and followed her into the trees. The forest was unlike anything Leo had seen. The leaves glowed softly, lighting the path. Strange animals watched from the shadows, curious but not aggressive. Leo noticed birds with transparent wings and small creatures with long tails that sparkled when they moved. He realized the planet had its own kind of magic, even though it was all natural. The girl moved easily through the forest, stepping over roots and climbing small hills. Leo had to move carefully. The ground was slippery, and he did not want to fall again. After some time, they reached a clearing. Leo saw small caves built into the side of a hill. Smoke rose from one of them. The girl led him toward the largest cave. As they got closer, Leo saw other figures. They were like her, with green skin and glowing eyes. They watched silently as she brought him near. They did not attack or speak. It was clear that she had a place in this group, and they respected her. The girl, who Leo now thought of as Nira, pointed to a spot near the cave entrance. Leo sat there, trying to dry off. Nira crouched nearby, watching him carefully. She made soft humming sounds. Leo guessed she was telling the others something about him. He nodded to show he understood. Nira tilted her head, and then something clicked in Leo's mind. She wanted to make sure he was safe, and she would not leave him alone. Leo took a deep breath. He realized he had to trust her. He had no choice. He tried to smile at her. "I owe you my life," he said. Nira blinked slowly and made a sound that Leo thought might be laughter. She did not seem angry or scared. She seemed pleased. For the first time that day, Leo felt hope. He had survived the river, and now he was with someone who might help him explore this strange planet safely. Nira stood up and gestured for him to follow her inside the cave. Inside, it was warmer. The walls glowed with soft crystals, lighting the space without fire. Other villagers watched quietly. Nira led him to a spot near the back of the cave and sat down. She looked at him, waiting. Leo realized she wanted him to rest. He sank to the ground and let out a long sigh. He was tired, wet, and cold, but he was alive. For the first time, Leo felt a bond forming. This girl had saved him from the river. She had strength, courage, and intelligence. Leo knew that surviving on this planet would be impossible without her. He smiled faintly at Nira, and she returned the gesture in her own way. A soft hum. A tilt of the head. It was simple, but it felt like a promise. Leo leaned back, thinking about the river, the forest, and the girl who had saved him. This was the beginning of something new. He did not know what would come next, but he knew one thing. With Nira by his side, he could face anything this planet threw at him. And for the first time, being on an alien world did not feel lonely. The river was behind him, but the adventure had only begun. Leo woke to the soft glow of crystals in the cave. The air smelled fresh, mixed with the scent of the glowing plants outside. He could hear quiet humming from Nira. She was moving around the cave, checking on the small fire and preparing something to eat. Her movements were smooth and precise, showing skill and practice. Leo sat up slowly, careful not to spill his wet clothes. Nira noticed him awake. She made a soft hum and pointed toward a small bowl filled with bright, round fruits. Leo picked one up and tasted it. It was sweet, with a texture he had never experienced before. He smiled at Nira. She tilted her head and hummed again, pleased with his reaction. Eating together was the first real moment of connection between them. After breakfast, Nira gestured for Leo to follow her outside. The village was small but full of life. Caves were built into the hills, and wooden bridges connected them over small streams. Other villagers watched from a distance, curious about the human Leo. They moved gracefully, with glowing eyes that shifted color slightly when they were interested or alert. Nira led Leo to a wider open space in the center of the village. Children with glowing eyes played, running in patterns that looked like dances. Adults tended to the crops, harvesting plants with long, thin tools. Some held small, glowing animals in their hands, pets that seemed part of the forest. Leo realized the villagers lived in harmony with the environment. Nothing seemed wasted or damaged. Leo tried to communicate. He pointed at himself and said his name. "Leo," he said again, louder this time. Nira repeated the sound, imitating his voice in her own way. She pointed to him and then at herself. Nira, she hummed. It was clear that the villagers had names, and Nira was proud to show that he now belonged in a small way. Curious villagers came closer, observing him silently. Leo held his hands up, showing he meant no harm. Slowly, the tension in the group relaxed. They seemed to understand that he was different but not dangerous. Leo realized that trust would take time. Nira stayed near him, moving between him and the others. Her presence was protective, and he felt safe. Nira led him to a small training area where villagers practiced climbing and hunting techniques. She gestured for him to try. Leo watched carefully. He had spent time in forests and mountains on Earth, but this forest was different. The trees were taller, the roots stronger, and the animals unpredictable. Nira demonstrated a simple climbing method. She moved quickly, using handholds in the glowing vines. Leo tried to copy her movements. He fell twice but laughed each time. Nira hummed and clapped softly, encouraging him. As the day went on, Leo began to notice patterns. The villagers worked in harmony, always aware of their surroundings. They moved quietly but efficiently. They shared tasks and helped each other without needing words. Leo tried to help with the crops, using a simple tool Nira gave him. The soil was soft, and the glowing plants seemed to respond to careful handling. He realized that the village had its own technology, based not on machines, but on understanding and cooperation. In the afternoon, Nira led him to a small animal pen. The animals were gentle but alert. Nira showed him how to feed them, pointing to their glowing markings and humming instructions. Leo followed, feeling the rhythm of her voice. He noticed that the animals seemed to understand her as well. They approached her calmly and took food gently from her hand. When he tried, they were cautious but curious. Slowly, trust formed. As the sun began to set, the glowing plants lit up the village even more. Leo sat with Nira on a small rock platform. She pointed to the sky and made a long hum. He looked up and saw strange constellations. They were not like the stars he knew from Earth. The sky seemed alive, full of movement and color. He felt small but excited. Nira's hum seemed like a song about the stars, and he hummed back, trying to match her tone. She tilted her head, listening carefully. Other villagers began to gather around. They did not speak, but their eyes glowed softly, observing the human. Leo realized he was part of something special. Nira's trust had allowed him to enter this world. He felt a mix of wonder and responsibility. This was not just an adventure. He had been rescued, and now he had a chance to learn, to explore, and to grow with these people. Nira stood and gestured for Leo to follow her to a small cave at the edge of the village. Inside, she had arranged soft glowing moss as bedding. She pointed for him to rest. Leo sat and nodded, understanding her care. The cave was simple but warm. The glow from the walls and ceiling made shadows dance softly. Leo felt a sense of peace. The danger of the river was behind him, and for the first time, he felt part of the alien world. As night fell, Leo thought about the day. He had seen courage, intelligence, and kindness in Nira. He had observed a village that thrived without conflict and without harming the forest. He realized humans could learn much from these people. He thought of Earth, of cities and machines, and compared them with this harmonious life. Something inside him changed. He wanted to understand more, to help, and to become part of this world. Nira lay beside him, her eyes glowing softly in the dark. She hummed a slow, steady tune. Leo listened, feeling the rhythm of her presence. He realized that the bond between them was growing. It was not only about survival. It was about trust, understanding, and friendship. He knew the journey ahead would be difficult, but he also knew he would not face it alone. Before falling asleep, Leo looked at Nira. He whispered, "Thank you for saving me." She responded with a soft hum and touched his arm lightly. That small gesture told him everything he needed to know. She had claimed him as someone important, not in a controlling way, but as a protector and friend. Leo smiled and closed his eyes, ready for whatever adventures awaited in the glowing forest and the mysterious village of Nira's people. The night was calm, but the forest hummed with life. Leo felt hope, curiosity, and courage. He had crossed the river and survived. Now, he was part of a new world, guided by a girl who had saved him and a tribe that was beginning to accept him. His adventure had only just begun. The next morning, Leo woke to the soft golden glow of the alien sun. The forest outside Nira's village shimmered with life. Strange birds with transparent wings flew from tree to tree, their feathers catching the light. Small animals with glowing tails scurried through the underbrush. Leo could hear the gentle hum of Nira and other villagers as they moved through the village. He stretched and got ready for the day, feeling excitement. Today, he would learn more about Nira's world. Nira appeared at the entrance of the cave, her glowing eyes bright with energy. She gestured for him to follow. Leo stood, careful not to slip on the damp moss. As they walked, Nira pointed at different plants and trees. She made humming sounds, and Leo tried to copy them. He realized she was teaching him names and uses for the plants. Some were food, some were medicines, and some had strange powers when crushed or mixed. They stopped at a small grove where glowing fruits hung low from branches. Nira picked a few and handed them to Leo. He tasted one and smiled. Sweet and tangy, unlike anything on earth. She hummed, seeming pleased with his reaction. Then, she pointed to a plant with large, broad leaves. She demonstrated how to carefully peel the leaves without damaging the plant. Leo followed her steps, and Nira watched closely, occasionally touching his hands to correct his grip. As the morning passed, Leo noticed the villagers watching them from a distance. They were curious but not intrusive. Nira moved confidently among the plants, guiding Leo and showing him that humans and aliens could work together. Leo realized that the villagers respected Nira deeply. Her courage, intelligence, and kindness made her a natural leader. He felt lucky to be with her. Next, Nira took Leo to the small animal pens. The glowing creatures inside were calm and curious. Nira showed him how to feed them and care for them. Leo noticed that the animals responded not just to food, but to gestures and tones. He mimicked Nira's movements and humming, and the animals began to approach him more freely. Nira smiled and hummed softly, as if praising his efforts. After feeding the animals, Nira led Leo to a clearing where villagers practiced hunting and climbing. She picked up a simple spear-like tool and demonstrated a throwing technique. Leo tried to copy her, but his first attempt was clumsy. Nira laughed softly and made a humming sound. She guided his hands and stance. By the third attempt, Leo was able to throw with surprising accuracy. Nira clapped her hands lightly, and he felt a warm sense of accomplishment. The day continued with lessons on navigation. Nira showed Leo how to read the glowing patterns in the forest. They indicated water, safe paths, and areas to avoid. Leo noticed that the villagers had developed a system far more advanced than it seemed at first. They did not need maps or machines. They used observation, memory, and cooperation to survive and thrive. Leo realized that humans had much to learn from them. By afternoon, Leo and Nira were resting under a large tree. The soft wind moved through the leaves, and light danced on the forest floor. Leo asked her about her life in the village. Nira made soft hums and gestures, showing him memories of hunting, climbing, and caring for the young villagers. Leo listened carefully, fascinated. He realized that Nira had grown strong through practice and determination. Her bravery was natural, but it was also earned. Leo wanted to teach Nira something too. He showed her a small device he carried from Earth. It was a simple tool for measuring temperature and pressure. Nira's eyes widened as she touched it and listened to the beeps. Leo explained, using gestures, what the numbers meant and how they could help predict weather or find safe water. Nira nodded, understanding more than he expected. She hummed softly, pointing at the device and then at him, showing appreciation for the knowledge. As the day drew to a close, Leo and Nira returned to the village. The villagers gathered around the central clearing, watching them. Nira gestured for Leo to show what he had learned. He demonstrated climbing, handling plants, and using the small device. The villagers were quiet at first, then a soft hum of approval spread through the group. Leo felt proud. He had earned a small place in their world. That evening, Nero led Leo to a quiet part of the village. The soft glow of crystals and plants made the area peaceful. She pointed at him, then at herself, and hummed a long, gentle tune. Leo realized she was teaching him her language in a simple way. He tried to repeat the sounds. At first, he stumbled, but Nero was patient. Slowly, he learned to mimic the rhythms and tones. The connection between them grew stronger. Words were not enough, they communicated through gestures, hums, and trust. Leo felt a new sense of belonging. He had crossed the dangerous river, learned the ways of Nira's people, and discovered the harmony of their lives. He thought about Earth, about cities and machines, and compared them with this village. He realized that strength was not only in weapons or tools. It was in courage, understanding, and the bonds between people. Nira had shown him that lesson, and he would not forget it. Before sleep, Nero led Leo to the edge of the village. They looked at the glowing forest, watching animals and birds move through the trees. Nira hummed a soft tune, and Leo joined in. Their voices mixed, creating a small harmony. The village was quiet, but the forest sang with life. Leo felt hope and determination. He knew he had much to learn, but he also knew he could face the challenges ahead with Nira by his side. Leo lay down on the soft moss, thinking about the day. He had learned new skills, made connections, and begun to understand a new way of life. He felt grateful for Nira, who had saved him and now guided him. He realized that this was only the beginning. The glowing forest, the village, and the mysteries of this planet held many adventures. He was ready for them, ready to explore, learn, and grow alongside Nira and her people. As he drifted to sleep, Leo felt a quiet bond with Nira. She had shown him trust, friendship, and courage. He knew that together, they could face anything. The river that had almost taken his life was behind him, and a new journey had begun. Leo smiled in his dreams, imagining the adventures, discoveries, and challenges that awaited in the days ahead. The forest whispered softly around the village, alive with energy. Leo felt part of it now. With Nira and her tribe, he was not just surviving. He was learning, growing, and becoming stronger. And in that bond, he found hope, courage, and a new sense of purpose. The sun rose slowly over the glowing forest. Leo stretched and looked around. Nira was already awake, moving gracefully among the plants. Her eyes glowed softly as she scanned the surroundings. Leo admired her alertness. She seemed to notice everything, from the smallest animal to the movement of the wind. Today felt different. There was a tension in the air, though Leo could not tell why. Nero led him to the edge of the forest, near a small hill. She pointed ahead and hummed quickly. Leo followed her gaze. In the distance, shadows moved among the glowing trees. The shapes were large, fast, and strange. Leo felt a chill. He realized these were predators, creatures unfamiliar and dangerous. Their eyes glowed red, and their bodies were covered in dark scales. Nira crouched low, signaling Leo to stay quiet. The creatures moved closer, their claws clicking softly on the ground. Nira pointed to the village and then back at Leo. She hummed again, quick and urgent. Leo understood that they needed to protect the tribe. He nodded, trying to stay calm. Nira handed him a small wooden spear. It was simple, but sharp and balanced. She demonstrated how to hold it and aim. Leo watched carefully, copying her movements. The predators appeared closer now. Nira motioned for the villagers to gather. Adults and older children came quickly, carrying tools and setting traps. Leo noticed the careful organization. The villagers moved as one, guided by Nira's signals and their shared knowledge. Leo felt a mixture of fear and admiration. This small village was prepared for danger, and Nira was at the center of it. As the first predator stepped into the clearing, Nira hummed a long, steady tune. It was a signal, and the villagers responded immediately. Some took positions on the small hill, while others moved quietly behind trees. Leo's heart raced. The predator's glowing eyes focused on him for a moment. He held the spear tightly and remembered Nira's instructions. The creature snarled and moved closer. Nira threw a small net, and it landed perfectly around one of the predator's legs. The creature struggled, but the villagers worked together to keep it contained. Leo watched carefully, learning how Nira and her people combined strategy and teamwork. When another predator appeared, Leo remembered what Nira had shown him. He aimed his spear and threw it near the creature, not to hurt it, but to distract it. The plan worked. The predator paused, and Nira used the distraction to lead it into a trap. The battle continued for some time. Leo worked alongside Nira, following her guidance and the rhythm of her hums. He realized that bravery was not just facing danger alone. It was about understanding, planning, and trusting others. Nira moved quickly and calmly, showing courage and intelligence in every step. Leo felt proud to be part of this defense, learning from her example. After the last predator was driven away, the villagers gathered in the clearing. They were cautious but relieved. Nira hummed softly, signaling that the danger had passed. Leo looked around. The villagers were quiet but grateful. He felt a sense of accomplishment. He had faced a real threat in an alien world and had survived. More importantly, he had done it with Nira by his side. Nira approached him and touched his shoulder gently. She hummed a long, soft note, a sound that Leo now understood as praise. He smiled, feeling the bond between them grow stronger. She led him to a small stream to wash off the dirt and sweat from the struggle. The water was cold, but refreshing. Leo felt the tension of the day slipping away, replaced by a sense of unity and trust. The villagers began to repair minor damage caused by the predators. Nira assigned tasks, guiding them efficiently. Leo helped where he could, carrying water and arranging tools. The tribe accepted his help without hesitation. He realized that he was becoming part of their community. They had faced danger together, and that experience had created trust and respect. As the sun lowered in the sky, Nira took Leo to a quiet spot near a glowing plant field. She gestured for him to sit, then hummed a gentle tune. Leo realized she was teaching him how to understand and feel the forest around them. The hums were more than sounds. They were instructions, warnings, and lessons wrapped together. Leo listened carefully, absorbing the rhythm and the meaning. Nira showed him how to sense movement in the forest, how to notice subtle changes in the light and shadows. She demonstrated how to move quietly, how to anticipate the actions of creatures, and how to act quickly without fear. Leo tried to copy her, stumbling at first. She did not scold or get frustrated. She guided him patiently, touching his hands, correcting his stance, and encouraging him with soft hums. By evening, Leo felt a new confidence. He had survived the river, learned the ways of the village, and now faced real predators with success. Nira had taught him courage, strategy, and teamwork. He looked at her with admiration and gratitude. She had saved him once, and now she had helped him stand strong in the face of danger. He realized that survival was more than strength or skill. It was about connection, trust, and the willingness to learn. Nero led him back to the village. The villagers were calmer now, gathering food and preparing for night. Leo noticed smiles and glowing eyes directed at him. He understood that he had earned a place among them. Nero hummed softly, signaling the end of the day. They walked together to the edge of the village, where soft moss and glowing crystals made a resting area. Leo sat down and watched Nero. She moved gracefully among the villagers, checking on everyone, making sure all were safe. Her courage, intelligence, and care were clear to him. He realized that she was more than a protector. She was a leader, a teacher, and a friend. He felt pride in knowing her and being part of her world. Before sleep, Leo and Nero looked at the glowing forest. The trees swayed gently, and small animals moved through the underbrush. Leo hummed softly, and Nero responded in kind. Their voices blended into a quiet harmony. He felt a deep sense of connection with her and the village. He knew that the adventure was far from over. The forest held more mysteries, and they would face more challenges together. Leo lay down, thinking about the day. He had faced danger, learned new skills, and grown closer to Nero and her people. He realized that life on this alien planet was challenging but full of opportunities. With courage, trust, and teamwork, he could survive and thrive. The predators were a reminder of the dangers, but also of the strength and resilience of the tribe. As he drifted to sleep, Leo felt gratitude and hope. Nero had shown him that courage and intelligence could overcome fear. The village had taught him that harmony and cooperation could create safety and strength. And he knew that together, he and Nero could face whatever challenges the forest and the planet might hold. The night fell, calm and peaceful, but full of life. Leo felt part of it now. With Nero and her tribe, he was not just a visitor. He was a participant, a learner, and a friend. The glowing forest held many adventures, and he was ready to meet them with courage, trust, and the bond he had formed with Nero. The next morning, Leo woke to the soft glow of the alien sun. The forest was alive with movement. Birds with transparent wings darted between glowing branches. Small animals with bright tails scurried along the mossy ground. Leo felt excitement. Today, Nero would take him deeper into the forest, further than he had ever been before. Nero waited for him at the edge of the village. Her glowing eyes were alert, scanning the trees. She made soft hums, signaling that it was time to start. Leo followed her carefully, trying to move as quietly as she did. The forest seemed denser here, with thick vines and large roots. The ground was uneven, but Nero moved with ease. Leo realized she knew every step, every tree, and every path in the forest. After walking for a while, Nero stopped. She pointed ahead. Leo looked and saw strange stone shapes among the trees. They were not natural. Large slabs of stone formed walls and small towers, partially covered by moss and glowing plants. Leo's heart raced. These were ruins. Something ancient and mysterious lay hidden in the forest. Nero hummed softly and led him closer. The structures were tall and strong, even though they were old. Symbols were carved into the stone. Some glowed faintly. Leo examined them, fascinated. He had never seen markings like these. He reached out to touch one carefully, and a soft light responded to his fingers. He realized that the structures were not just buildings. They were alive in a strange way, connected to the energy of the forest. Nero gestured for him to follow a narrow path into the ruins. The air was cooler here, and the forest noises seemed quieter. Leo noticed small chambers with glowing crystals embedded in the walls. Some crystals pulsed with light as if breathing. Nero touched a few, and they responded with hums and soft glows. Leo understood that the ruins were interactive, a combination of architecture and natural energy. As they explored, Leo found small objects on the ground. Some were tools, shaped like leaves but made from a strong, smooth material. Others looked like small devices with glowing lines. He picked one up, examining it carefully. Nira hummed and touched it gently. The device responded, lighting up and making a soft sound. Leo realized that these were remnants of an advanced civilization, long gone, but still connected to the forest. Nero led him further into the ruins. They reached a central area, larger than the others. Stone pillars rose high, covered with glowing symbols. The air hummed with energy. Leo felt a strange sense of awe. It was as if the place remembered the people who had built it. He noticed patterns in the carvings. Some looked like maps, others like instructions or stories. Leo studied them, trying to understand. Nira pointed at one of the carvings and hummed. Leo guessed she was explaining the meaning. He realized that her people were descendants of the builders. They had learned to live in harmony with the energy of the ruins, using it to guide their lives and protect their village. Nira's people had inherited not only the land but the knowledge of the past. As they moved through the ruins, Leo felt a sense of discovery. Every step revealed something new. Glowing plants grew between the stones, animals moved silently through the chambers, and the air was full of energy. Leo showed Nira some of the human tools he carried. He explained, with gestures, how they worked and what they could do. Nira watched carefully, touching the devices, and hummed softly in curiosity. Leo realized that knowledge could be shared across worlds. He and Nira were learning from each other. Humans had technology, but Nira's people had wisdom and harmony with nature. Together, they could understand more than either could alone. The ruins were a bridge between the past and the present, between human and alien understanding. After exploring the central chamber, Nero led Leo to a smaller room. Inside, the walls were covered with carvings of people and creatures. Leo noticed that some carvings looked like Nero's tribe, showing scenes of hunting, planting, and caring for animals. Other carvings showed humans, or beings very much like them. Leo felt a connection across time. These ruins told a story of cooperation, survival, and respect for life. Nira hummed and touched a carving of a glowing tree. The light from the carvings intensified. Leo watched, fascinated. He realized that the ruins were not only structures but teachers. They responded to curiosity and care. The energy in the stones was alive, and those who approached with respect could learn from it. Nira had grown up understanding this. Leo was learning now. They spent the afternoon exploring smaller chambers, discovering devices and tools, and observing the carvings. Leo noted that Nira had an intuitive understanding of the ruins. She moved confidently, guiding him safely. He tried to copy her careful movements and gestures. Each time he touched a device correctly, it responded with light or sound. He smiled, feeling a sense of accomplishment. By evening, they reached the outer edge of the ruins. The forest outside was quiet and glowing in the sunset. Leo turned to Nira, feeling awe and gratitude. She had shown him a world within a world, a place where history, energy, and life intertwined. He realized that the forest, the village, and the ruins were all connected. Nira's people were not just surviving. They were guardians of this planet's history and energy. Nero led him back toward the village. Along the path, Leo reflected on the day. He had discovered ruins, learned about Nira's people, and seen how knowledge could be passed through generations. He thought about Earth and the differences between human and alien ways of life. He realized that true strength was not just technology or force. It was understanding, respect, and harmony with the world around them. As night fell, Leo and Nira reached the village. The villagers were waiting, curious about what they had found. Nira hummed a long tune, signaling that the ruins were safe and the discoveries were shared. Leo showed some of the small devices and carvings, and the villagers responded with quiet approval and curiosity. They were learning from him, just as he had learned from them and the ruins. Before sleep, Leo sat with Nira at the edge of the village. The soft glow of the forest surrounded them. He hummed softly, and Nira responded. Their voices blended into a quiet harmony. Leo felt a deep connection with Nira, her people, and the planet itself. He realized that this journey was not just about survival or adventure. It was about learning, understanding, and forming bonds across worlds. Leo lay down, thinking about the ruins, the forest, and the glowing village. He felt excitement for the days ahead. There were still mysteries to uncover, challenges to face, and knowledge to gain. But he knew he was not alone. With Nira by his side, he could explore this world safely and wisely. The forest, the ruins, and the village had shown him a new way of living, a way of harmony, courage, and trust. The night fell, calm and peaceful, full of the soft sounds of glowing animals and rustling leaves. Leo felt part of the world now. He was not just a visitor. He was a learner, a friend, and a partner to Nira. Tomorrow would bring new adventures, new discoveries, and new lessons. And he was ready to face them with courage, curiosity, and the bond he shared with Nira and her people. The morning air in the village was crisp and bright. Leo stretched and looked at the glowing forest beyond the village. Today felt important. Nira was already awake, moving with purpose among the villagers. Her eyes glowed softly as she organized tasks and checked preparations. Leo watched her, realizing that she carried a quiet strength. She was not only brave but also a natural leader. Nira gestured for Leo to follow her to the edge of the village. In the distance, he saw figures moving among the trees. They were from a neighboring tribe. Leo noticed their eyes glowed differently, and their movements were faster, sharper, and alert. Nira hummed a long, low tune, signaling caution. Leo understood immediately. There was tension in the forest. A challenge or threat was approaching. The rival tribe came closer. Nira stood tall and motioned for the villagers to gather in the central clearing. She hummed a steady, confident tune. The villagers responded instantly, moving into positions they had practiced before. Leo felt a sense of awe. Nira's leadership was calm, clear, and unshakable. She had faced danger before, and now she would face it again, this time as a leader. The rival tribe approached cautiously. Nira stepped forward and hummed firmly. Leo noticed that her hum was not aggressive but authoritative. It was a signal of confidence and control. The rival tribe paused, watching her closely. Nira gestured toward the clearing, inviting them to present their challenge. Leo realized that this was a test of wisdom, strength, and strategy, not just combat. Nira called Leo to her side. She pointed to different villagers and explained her plan with gestures and soft hums. Leo followed her instructions carefully. He helped set up signals and small traps designed not to harm anyone but to demonstrate skill and intelligence. Leo marveled at how Nira combined courage with strategy. She was not reckless, every move was calculated, every decision thoughtful. The challenge began with a series of tests. The rival tribe sent representatives to perform climbing, hunting, and tracking tasks. Nira responded with her own villagers performing the same tasks. Leo watched as Nira guided them, offering advice through hums and gestures. He realized that this was more than a contest. It was a way to show respect, skill, and leadership without unnecessary violence. At one point, a task required reaching a high branch to retrieve a glowing fruit. One of Nira's younger villagers hesitated, unsure of the climb. Nira moved quickly to support him, showing the correct technique and offering encouragement. Leo helped by pointing out handholds and footholds. Together, they guided the child to success. Nira's gentle leadership and his careful support created a sense of unity among the villagers. The rival tribe watched with interest. They began to respect Nira's abilities and her tribe's skill. Leo realized that this challenge was about proving intelligence and courage, not domination. Nira moved confidently through every task, demonstrating her strength, wisdom, and ability to protect and guide her people. Leo felt proud to be by her side, helping where he could. After the physical tests, the challenge moved to a test of strategy. Both tribes had to navigate a small obstacle course in the forest, using only signals and gestures to communicate. Nira hummed and gestured to Leo, who followed her carefully. Together, they guided the villagers through the course. Leo noticed how Nira anticipated obstacles, using her knowledge of the forest to avoid danger and take advantage of safe paths. The rival tribe attempted the course as well. Nira observed silently, noting their strengths and weaknesses. When a small misstep occurred, she made a soft hum and adjusted her team's positions, keeping them calm and focused. Leo was impressed by her composure. She was not only strong but also wise and patient. Her tribe moved efficiently, guided by her leadership, and completed the course successfully. Finally, Nero led her team to a demonstration of courage and problem-solving. A large fallen tree blocked part of the path, and the tribe had to find a way around it without touching dangerous plants nearby. Nira approached carefully, observing the tree and the surroundings. She hummed and gestured, showing the villagers where to step and how to move. Leo helped by clearing small branches and pointing to safe routes. Together, they guided the group past the obstacle. The rival tribe reached the same obstacle and struggled. Nira watched quietly, her hum steady, her eyes observing every move. She did not interfere. Leo noticed that her confidence never wavered. She trusted her people, and they trusted her. By the time the rival tribe passed, Nira's team had already reached the other side safely. The skill, wisdom, and teamwork of her tribe were evident. As the challenge ended, the rival tribe acknowledged Nira's leadership. They hummed in approval, a sign of respect. Nira nodded and responded with her own hums. Leo felt a sense of pride. He had seen courage, strategy, and intelligence in action. Nira had proven herself not through force alone but through wisdom, patience, and care for her people. After the rival tribe left, Nero led Leo back to the village. The villagers were celebrating quietly, proud of their success and safe after the challenge. Nira hummed softly to them, signaling reassurance and approval. Leo helped with small tasks, feeling more a part of the community than ever. The day had tested their courage, skill, and unity, and they had succeeded. As the sun set, Leo and Nira sat near a glowing stream at the edge of the village. The water reflected the forest and the village lights. Nira hummed a soft, slow tune. Leo listened carefully, responding with his own hums. Their voices blended in a quiet harmony. Leo felt a deep connection to her and the tribe. He realized that true strength came from unity, trust, and shared courage. Leo thought about the day. He had witnessed Nira's bravery and leadership, helped her tribe navigate challenges, and learned the importance of strategy, patience, and trust. He felt proud and inspired. Nira had shown him that strength was not just about force. It was about understanding, cooperation, and wisdom. Before sleep, Nira led Leo to a soft moss bed under a glowing tree. She gestured for him to rest. Leo lay down, thinking about the challenges they had faced, the lessons he had learned, and the bond he shared with Nira. She had proved herself to everyone, and he had been there to support her. The forest around them hummed softly, alive with energy and life. Leo felt hope and determination. Tomorrow would bring new adventures and discoveries, and he knew he would face them with courage, curiosity, and the friendship he had with Nira. She had shown him that humans and aliens could work together, learn from each other, and thrive in harmony. The night fell gently over the village. The glowing forest, the soft hum of the villagers, and the peaceful energy of the ruins and streams created a calm and protective atmosphere. Leo felt safe, inspired, and ready. He had learned much, but he knew there was still more to discover, explore, and experience. With Nira by his side, he could face any challenge the forest or the planet might hold. As he drifted to sleep, Leo smiled, thinking about the day's lessons. He had seen courage, intelligence, and leadership in action. He had helped guide and protect the tribe. And he had grown closer to Nira, forming a bond that was strong, trusting, and unshakable. The adventure was far from over, but Leo was ready. Together, they would face whatever came next with bravery, wisdom, and friendship. The morning light filtered through the glowing trees, painting the village in shades of gold and green. Leo stretched and took a deep breath of fresh forest air. Today felt like a day for discovery, a day to explore further into the forest and learn more about the world he now called home. Nira was already awake, moving among the villagers with her usual grace and alertness. Her glowing eyes met Leo's, and she made a soft hum that seemed like a greeting and an invitation to adventure. Leo followed her to the edge of the village. The forest beyond was thick and alive. Strange birds darted between the glowing branches. Small animals with bright tails scurried among the undergrowth. Leo felt a thrill of excitement. With Nira guiding him, he had the courage to venture deeper than he had before. Nira led him to a path that curved around ancient stones, remnants of the ruins they had discovered earlier. The air hummed with energy. Leo noticed faint carvings on the stones, glowing softly. Nira hummed and gestured for him to touch them. When he did, the stones pulsed lightly. Leo felt a strange warmth and realized that the ruins responded to curiosity and respect. Nira's people had always understood this connection, and now he was learning too. They walked deeper into the forest. The trees grew taller, and the light changed as the canopy thickened. Nira moved with careful steps, occasionally stopping to point out plants or creatures. Leo observed everything, taking in the glowing plants, the shapes of the animals, and the energy of the forest. He felt a deep respect for this world and its balance. After some time, they reached a small clearing. In the center stood a large tree, taller and wider than any Leo had seen. Its trunk was covered in glowing lines, like veins of light. Nira approached it and hummed a long, gentle tune. Leo watched in awe. The tree seemed to respond, the glow intensifying and spreading along its branches. Nira touched the trunk, and the light pulsed softly under her hand. Leo stepped closer and placed his hand on the tree as well. A warm energy flowed through him. He felt connected not only to the tree but to Nira, the village, and the forest itself. Nira hummed, guiding his awareness. He realized that this was a living connection, a way the planet communicated with its inhabitants. The bond was strong, and it gave him a sense of peace and purpose. Nira led him around the tree, showing him hidden paths and small creatures that lived in the forest. Leo marveled at how every part of the ecosystem worked together. He thought about Earth and how humans often disrupted their environment. Here, the balance was clear. Every plant, animal, and person had a role, and everyone respected it. Leo felt inspired to learn and protect, just like Nira and her tribe. As they explored, Leo noticed movement in the distance. Small, glowing creatures were gathering near a stream. Nira gestured for him to follow quietly. The creatures were shy but curious. Leo held his hand out slowly. One of the creatures approached and touched his fingers with its tiny glowing paw. Nira hummed in approval. Leo smiled. He realized that trust could be built with patience and care, even with creatures from another world. After spending time observing the creatures, Nira led Leo back toward the village. Along the way, they collected some glowing fruits and small plants that could be used for food or medicine. Leo learned how to identify them, how to handle them carefully, and how to appreciate their value. Nira's patience and guidance made the learning feel natural and safe. When they returned to the village, the villagers gathered around. Nira hummed a long tune, sharing the story of their exploration. Leo showed the plants and fruits they had collected, and the villagers responded with soft hums and glowing eyes. They were learning from him as he had learned from them and the forest. Leo felt a deep sense of belonging. He was no longer an outsider. He was part of this world, part of Nira's life and the tribe's community. As evening approached, Nero led Leo to a high point overlooking the village and the forest beyond. The setting sun lit the sky with colors Leo had never seen. He felt awe and gratitude. Nero stood beside him, her glowing eyes reflecting the light of the forest. She hummed softly, a sound that felt like a song of welcome and trust. Leo responded with his own hum, and their voices blended in a quiet harmony. Leo realized that he had grown in ways he could not have imagined. He had faced danger, learned the ways of Nero's people, explored ruins, and discovered the forest's mysteries. But most importantly, he had formed a bond with Nero, built on trust, respect, and shared experiences. She had saved him, taught him, and now considered him a friend and partner. Nero gestured for him to sit beside her. Together, they watched as the first stars appeared in the sky. Leo noticed constellations that were unfamiliar, moving slightly as if alive. Nero hummed a long, gentle tune, and Leo tried to follow it. Their sounds mingled with the night, creating a melody that felt like part of the forest itself. He realized that this was a language of connection, a way to communicate without words. Leo reflected on the journey. From the river rescue to learning in the village, facing predators, exploring ruins, and now understanding the forest's living energy, he had grown stronger, wiser, and more confident. He realized that courage was not just about facing danger. It was about learning, trusting, helping others, and respecting the world around him. As the night deepened, Nero led Leo back to their resting area in the village. Soft moss and glowing plants created a comfortable place to sleep. Leo lay down, feeling the warmth of the forest and the quiet hum of the village. Nero sat nearby, her glowing eyes watching over him. He felt safe and at peace. Before sleep claimed him, Leo whispered, "Thank you, Nero, for everything." She responded with a soft hum and a gentle touch on his arm. It was a gesture of trust and friendship, a promise that they would face the future together. Leo smiled, feeling hope and excitement for the days to come. In the morning, they would continue to explore, learn, and grow together. The forest held endless mysteries, the ruins had many secrets yet to be discovered, and the village had lessons that could last a lifetime. Leo knew that with Nero and the tribe, he could face anything. He was no longer just a visitor on this planet. He was part of it, part of a community, and part of a story that was just beginning. The night in the glowing forest was peaceful. Stars twinkled above, animals whispered softly in the trees, and the energy of the planet flowed all around. Leo closed his eyes with a smile, feeling connected, strong, and ready for the future. With Nero by his side, every challenge became an opportunity, every discovery a lesson, and every day a new adventure. The adventure that began at the river had transformed his life. Leo had found courage, friendship, and belonging. Nero had saved him, guided him, and shown him a world filled with wonder and wisdom. Together, they had discovered not only the forest and its secrets but also the power of trust, teamwork, and harmony. The forest, the village, and the glowing ruins were all alive, and now Leo was alive with them. He slept peacefully, dreaming of the journeys yet to come, knowing that with Nero, he would never be alone. This was a new beginning, a story of courage, friendship, and hope that would continue for many days and adventures to follow.